Welcome back to Let the Quran Speak. We are now in the month of Shaban, the month before Ramadan. And with me is Brother Shabir. He's going to tell us how we can prepare for the month of Ramadan. Now, Brother Shabir, the month of Shaban, of course, we're following the Islamic calendar. The month of Shaban, it comes right before Ramadan, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we have 12 months in the Islamic calendar. It's a lunar calendar. The ninth month of that 12 is the month of Ramadan, when Muslims observe fast during the day. The month before that is the 8th month of the Islamic calendar, which is referred to as the month of Shaban. That's the name of it, Shaban.
Is there anything special about this month?
Yes, the fact that it precedes Ramadan obviously is accompanied by an expectation and anticipation of the sacred month to be ushered in. And during the month of Shaban, naturally Muslims would be doing some house cleaning, not only in terms of the physical house, but also our own bodies and our own minds. There will be a sort of mental preparedness to be closer to God during the month of Ramadan.
Did the Prophet do anything particularly special during this month?
It is related that in this month he used to fast quite a bit. In fact, it is related in the hadith that the Prophet, peace be upon him, never fasted as much in a month as he fasted in the month of Shaban. There will be in other months perhaps his fasting of, let's say, 3 days during the middle of the month, sometimes on Mondays and Thursdays, or very often on Mondays and Thursdays. But it seems that he fasted quite a bit in the month of Shaban.
Was there a particular reason for this?
Well, it does. The fact that he did it highlights the significance of the month, at least in retrospect. But I don't know of any other reason why he would have specifically fasted in this month, except to say that in fasting this month, one becomes in a way prepared for Ramadan. See, if one was not already accustomed to fasting, and then Ramadan rolls in, and now we begin fasting in Ramadan because we have to, and you can imagine kids saying, do I have to? But sometimes adults can do that too, if you're not really accustomed to it and it's here and you're doing it because it is an obligation. But if you fasted before that during the month of Shaban, not because it's an obligation, because it is not, obviously, to fast in the month of Shaban, but if you begin to fast voluntarily, then this fast becomes more real. It becomes a more real spiritual experience, a way of drawing close to God, because now you're doing it not because you have to, but because you want to. And that makes a great deal of difference. And this, of course, will get you into the mood and spirit to be prepared for Ramadan itself.
Is there any significance to the midpoint in the month of Shaban?
Yes, there are two things. One is directly related to the what I just said, in that the latter half of the month, in fact, should not be observed in excessive fasting. One can fast some of the customary days, like Mondays and Thursday or something like this, but not to make a point of fasting too much during these days. In fact, it is better not to fast much during the last half of the month of Shaban, so that one can conserve one's energy and be ready for Ramadan itself. So
and also you don't want to lose the specialness of the month of Ramadan.
Exactly, right? by preceding it by fasting so much in the month of Shaban. So my comments about fasting during the month of Shaban voluntarily is more applicable to the early half of the month of Shaban, and obviously now we're in the second half. We're in the days leading up to the month of Ramadan. So these are the days in which one should be waiting in eager anticipation for the month to begin, so that we begin the actual obligatory fast. But the second thing that should be mentioned with regards to the middle of Shaban is that there is a night, the night of the 15th of Shaban, which in some countries Muslims pay special attention to worshipping on that night, and sometimes they even visit the graves to make special intercessory supplications for their departed relatives.
There are some hadiths that mention the forgiveness of God on that night.
Yes. However, these hadiths, these reports about what the Prophet, peace be upon him, might have said in this regard, are not some of the most authenticated ones.
Okay.
In fact, they have been discussed both ways, some insisting that in final analysis they turn out to be authentic and really the sayings of the Prophet. Some others contending that these are not authentic sayings of the Prophet, peace be upon him. So you might find that largely in the Arab countries, the night of the 15th of Shaban is not celebrated as a special occasion, but in the Indo-Pak subcontinent and elsewhere where Muslims have migrated from that region, we will find that Muslims are observing the 15th of the month of Shaban as a special occasion, and the night especially will be observed in intensive worship.
Mm-hmm. So what can Muslims do to prepare themselves for Ramadan? I know one of the things that comes to mind immediately is if a person drinks a lot of coffee, which a lot of people do, they can wean themselves off that coffee use before the month of Ramadan. Well, what are some other things?
Yes, of course addiction is a special problem, and I'm not an expert on addiction. But if one has just simply developed a habit of having more coffee and being semi-dependent on nicotine or caffeine, then one can start to gradually wean oneself off of that, because one of the things that Ramadan itself will do is that the fast will necessitate our complete abstinence from food and drink and from gratifying the physical pleasure in this way by way of food and drink and sexual encounters. So naturally, if one is smoking and habituated to smoking, one will want to start in some way to reduce the nicotine intake in order to prepare oneself to enjoy the fast of Ramadan.
All right, thank you, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break. When we come back, we will look at honor killings.